Nikola Tesla, a shocking new legacy. Nikola Tesla, a Serbian-American inventor, was born in what is modern-day Croatia and studied at the University of Prague. Tesla later took a job in Paris working for the Continental Edison Company. He worked at a lamp factory, mainly installing lighting systems. Tesla found flaws in the Edison dynamo and submitted new plans to an administrator of the company. The plans were accepted, but instead of being compensated, he was dispatched to Strasbourg. His assignment in Strasbourg was to repair a new DC lighting system installed at the German railway company. He succeeded in doing the assignment, but again was never compensated. While he was there, he tried to impress several investors and the mayor of Strasbourg with his AC induction motor, but they had no interest in his invention. Tesla thought the only way for his invention to be recognized was to meet Thomas Edison, the greatest electrical engineer in the world. In 1884, at age 28, he arrived in New York with nothing much but a letter of recommendation from Charles Batchelor, Edison's business associate in Europe. Thomas Edison introduced New York to electricity in the 1870s with his incandescent lamp, which created the highest demand for electricity. He would soon create a monopoly with his DC power station on Pearl Street in Lower Manhattan. The streets created unsafe conditions because they carried dozens of crooked crossbeams supporting sagging wires and the exposed electrical wiring. Yet still, wealthy New Yorkers wanted their homes wired. When the time came, Tesla gave Edison the letter of recommendation from Charles Batchelor. It read, "My dear Edison, I know two great men, and you are one of them. The other is this young man." Tesla went on to tell him about his ideas for AC power. Edison hired him without any hesitation, but wanted to hear nothing of Nikola Tesla's ideas about alternating current because it meant competition. Nikola Tesla was to make improvements to Edison's DC generation plants. Tesla claims that Edison offered him $50,000 if he succeeded in doing this. Tesla finished, and when he asked to be paid, Edison explained the offer was a joke. He said, "When you become a full-fledged American, you will appreciate an American joke." Tesla was disgusted and quickly resigned. Tesla would rather dig ditches than work for Edison, and that is exactly what he did. When investors heard about a man with unusual talent digging ditches to make a living, they approached him offering to fund his company, Tesla Electric Company, if he developed an improved method for arc lighting. Tesla set to work and invented an arc lamp with great efficiency. Unfortunately, all the money earned went to the investors, and Tesla was left with worthless stock certificates. His luck changed when A.K. Brown of the Western Union Company agreed to invest in Tesla's ideas for AC motor. Tesla was able to perfect all the components for the system of AC power generation and transmission. He said, "The motors I built there were exactly as I imagined them. I made no attempt to improve the design, but merely reproduced the pictures as they appeared to my vision, and the operation was always as I expected." Now that he had produced the motor, he needed to introduce it commercially, which was the most difficult part. In December of 1887, Tesla filed for 7 U.S. patents in the field of polyphase AC motors and power transmission. The patents included a complete system of generators, transformers, transmission lines, motors, and lighting. These would be the most important patents since the telephone. Then a man named George Westinghouse, inventor of the railroad air brakes, came to Tesla at his lab and made him a very good offer. He offered to purchase all of Tesla's patents for $60,000, which included $5,000 in cash and 150 shares of stock in the Westinghouse Corporation. He also agreed to pay royalties of $2.50 per horsepower of electrical capacity sold. With the idea of new inventions in mind, Tesla spent half of his newfound wealth on a new laboratory. With Tesla's new breakthroughs, a full-scale industrial war erupted. The war was between whether Tesla's alternating current or Edison's direct current would be the chosen technology. Edison started a full-out propaganda war against alternating current. Westinghouse recalled, "I remember Tom Edison telling them that direct current was like a river flowing peacefully to the sea, while alternating current was like a torrent rushing violently over a precipice. Imagine that. Why, they even had a professor named Harold Brown who went around talking to audiences and electrocuting dogs and old horses right on stage to show how dangerous alternating current was." Edison even went to the extent of electrocuting an elephant. Also, a murderer was executed in the first electric chair at New York's Auburn State Prison. Professor Brown purchased a used Westinghouse generator to show the extreme dangers of alternating current. The guinea pig was William Kemmler, a convicted axe murderer. This technique was later dubbed Westinghousing. In spite of all the bad press, good things were coming for Tesla and Westinghouse. The Chicago World's Fair was approaching, and it would definitely determine whether alternating current or direct current would be the technology of the future. The Chicago World's Fair was the first all-electric fair in history. It is also referred to as the Columbian Exposition in celebration of the 400th anniversary of Columbus discovering America. George Westinghouse undercut the newly formed General Electric Company's bid for illuminating the Chicago World Fair by half. General Electric was the company that had taken over the Edison Company. Much of General Electric's costs were tied to the amount of copper wire necessary to utilize DC power. The Columbian Exposition opened on May 1, 1893. President Grover Cleveland pushed a button and 100,000 incandescent lamps illuminated the fairground's neoclassical buildings. It was called the City of Light and was the work of Nikola Tesla and 12 new 1,000-horsepower AC generation units located in the Hall of Machinery. For all those that attended the fair, it was clear that the power of the future was alternating current. From that point, more than 80% of all the electrical devices ordered in the US were for alternating current. It is clear that Tesla had created an astounding legacy and set the tone for electricity in the modern era.